Bingo. $500 here, boss. And she's never been to the dealership. It's never had anything wrong with it. They required a dealership involved. The only issue I've ever had with it is the parking brake got a little tight. This guy here, when you push him off and pull him on, he got tight. I did a video on this. All it was the pivot point. It's aluminum and steel, and where the aluminum cast piece has a steel pivot rod running through it, the aluminum galled on the steel more than likely, and just a shot at WD-40 took care of that. Still works great. Look at this. One finger. She's been a good one. I try not to ever really crowd my bucket when I'm hauling gravel. So that's pretty much a typical load. For me, maybe a little bit more when the pile is fresh and high. And it's definitely easier, a lot easier to get it filled up. I'm going to raise this up. We're going to zoom in on the front axle. We'll try to see if we can see any movement just from basic wear and tear on the 500Rs. Okay, let's try that. We're going to start it up. The bucket's in the air. It's got that gravel on it that you just saw. We'll start her up and just move the steering wheel slowly left and right. What we're looking for, see if we can see any kind of a basic wear pattern going on in here, just from general wear and tear. Like I say, it's $500 of service on this tractor. A lot of front end loader work. Probably 15 8-ton loads of gravel have been spread. Gravel and some sand and some topsoil. A lot of bush hogging and a lot of rotilling, because we did a 3-acre pollinator patch, and that alone required 3 tillings, so there's 9 acres of tilling right there. That was probably the hardest work this tractor had to do. And we'll take a look under it and see if we see any leaks. Okay, here we go. Now this steering wheel movement that I'm going to show you, I've had it from day one. That is just basic play in the universal joints that they use that connect between the steering wheel and the power steering pump itself. That gives you an indication of the steering wheel movement. Okay, let's move back and try to get a peek at the power steering cylinder itself. Also, I might note that I always use ballast. I would recommend you always use some kind of ballast. Don't ever let the front end take all of that weight of just the FEL itself combined with the gravel. It's in the owner's manual. They want you to always have some ballast back here. And I'm not sure what that weighs, but it's fairly heavy. I can determine just from looking at it real closely and just through general feel when you're steering it and maneuvering the tractor with a bucket load of gravel, I cannot determine any wear in the front end components at all. None whatsoever. Okay, our 1025R lives in this spot right here, probably from about March through the end of October. The entire time we're using it to mow. I want to show you this because I just want you to see that tractor does not leak a single drop of fluid. And on any piece of equipment, that's always impressed me. Now let's go take a look under the tractor. I wash and wax it once a year. When I wax it, I use Colonite 845. Right now it's just got some small dirt and dust on it. And my tractor still has the original holding bracket for the air filter. It has not broke yet. Still pretty solid. I need to look into getting the update kit, but I just haven't done it yet because so far I haven't had a need to do it. Change the air filter once a year regardless of the number of hours on it. On my coolant tank, I have to keep it to the bare minimum, almost empty, but when you run it, you can look at it and it comes up a little bit. If I was to fill it here when it was cold, it's going to shake out and vibrate out and make quite of a mess right around here. So I go ahead and keep it to the bare minimum, no problem there. Incredible little Yanmar engine. Original battery, still doing great. And the point of this little video clip is no leaks of anything, anywhere. Let's take a look underneath. Power steering cylinder. Power steering lines, we'll go ahead and follow them back. Yeah, let's go back up here to these fittings. Bone dry. Oil drain plug. Go ahead and try to show all around the oil pan, but if you can't see it, it's no big deal. It's just bone dry all the way around it. Okay, we can see more from the other side. Let's slide over there. Okay, we're back now looking at the front of the hydrostatic transmission. There's the output shaft going to the mid-mount mower. You can see it's good shape. Here's the output shaft going to the front wheel drive unit. There's the bottom of the hydrostatic transmission filter. Stays a little damp but never drips. It doesn't even look wet, but you can see where some dust is wanting to accumulate on it right there. Now let's look up to the input shaft to the hydrostatic transmission. Comes directly from the Yanmar engine. I'm glad to see that's bone dry. Really good shape for $500. The axle housings, all along those line of bolts and seals, gaskets. I'm sure it's just RTV, but they're in good shape. Now we'll take a look at the back end of it. There's the output PTO for the rear. You can see it. It's bone dry. It's even got dry dust all around it. It's a hydraulic pump. Output on pressure. Suction on the input. These R4 tires, the only complaint that you'll ever hear on them is they're a little stiff. So you're going to get a little bit rougher ride, but man are they tough. This tractor has tilled many acres, bush hogged some rough stuff, and been involved in quite a bit of front end loader work. Excellent wear on these tires. I don't think this tractor could ever wear them out. They'll probably dry rot first. Let's look at the front. Same way on the front. The front takes a lot more abuse, especially with the FEL on it. You get the front end loader and start hauling gravel, and this tractor's hauled tons of gravel. Many 8-ton loads have been scattered with it. Just slight rounding here. Well, without taking the shield off, you can trust me, the injection pump is bone dry. I had the block heater put in mine. It also is dry. Fuel filter bracket in line. Incoming and going out, it's a simple hose. It stays good and dry. Same way with the hydraulic block. There's a look underneath on the inside of the hydraulic block. Never an issue with the starter or the battery. She does shake a lot at idle. Motor mounts are still intact. Also, as a rule, I don't push the oil changes. I know the owner's manual says you can put up to 200 hours on it. I probably never exceed 80 hours on an oil change. I try to keep it between 50 and 75. So I'm pretty generous on the oil changes. And of course, change the oil filter every time. The primary air filter gets changed every year. The secondary, maybe every 2 to 3 years. The secondary stays really clean. Primary, not so much. Gets pretty dirty in a year. I was really amazed at just how dirty the primary air filter can get in as few as, say, 50 to 75 hours. A lot of that depends on what you're doing, though. If you're bush hogging some nasty stuff, that little Yanmar sucks a lot of air in. But if you got any questions, please don't hesitate to ask in the comment section. But in summary, it's been great. She's been a good one, and I hope it continues to do so. Well, thanks for watching, and work safe out there.